Hey everybody, Tony Winston here, Jazz Piano College. A lot of people have asked me about how I make my videos and also how my pianos always seem to be in tune. And I do tune them myself, and I'm going to show you how I do that. This is not necessarily the best way or the right way, but it's my way. With AI taking over the world, you might be looking for a job that maybe is not being endangered by AI, and I would say being a piano technician is probably one of those things. All you really need, I think, to do it my way is a tuning hammer, two wedge mutes, and some kind of electronic tuning device. All right, now you can get them on your phone, and you can even get one for free that'll just tune up, like say, this much of the piano, and then it's up to you to tune it by ear out to the end. But what I'm going to do is just tune it from left to right using this device. Now this is set up with different programs for different pianos. So like this particular piano, a Yamaha G5, is built into the software here, so I have to select. But you know what's basically happening is those red lights are slowly spinning to the left. And what I'm trying to do is get them to stop spinning. Okay. So it's a little bit flat. Now, hammer technique. All right, this is the hammer, tuning hammer. Or tuning, what do they call it? Tuning lever. You'll see a lot of people when they tune a piano, banging and pulling and banging and pulling, and I don't do that. A couple reasons. It's bad for my hands. I've tuned maybe 800 or 900 pianos in my life, and it's taken its toll. You need to take a break as you're doing this and kind of stretch your hands out, and also maybe wearing gloves. Some ear protection is not a bad idea. Just because your piano's a little flat doesn't mean you should just automatically tune it. I like to keep mine right at 440, but the whole piano is slightly shifted downwards a little bit. It still sounds in tune to me. I probably wouldn't tune it except for I want to do this video. Okay, so here we go. What am I on? B. And what I basically do is pull the note gradually until it's a little bit sharp, then back off on it. And the idea is to kind of equalize the pressure that you're using between pushing and pulling, and gradually getting down to where you're just using a tiny little bit of pressure and moving slightly above sharp and flat until it just settles in. And sometimes it'll just settle in very quickly. Is if your piano is way out of tune, let's say it's a quarter step or more flat, as you tune from left to right, as you're tuning the top part here and tightening these strings, it takes pressure away from the lower strings. So as you bring these up to pitch, these will start to go flat again, which is why you sometimes have to go through the piano twice or even 3 times if you're bringing the pitch up. Now there are some professional ways around this, and this particular machine has some software where you can compensate for that and do it in one pass, but I've never used it, so I don't know. Okay, so now I've reached the part of the piano where there are 2 strings for each note. And so I've set my wedge to block off the right string, and I'm just tuning the left string. And as I see, my lights are perfectly steady there. So then I remove the wedge and move it across 2 strings. So I'm muting the right string of the next string up, but I still have to tune the right string for this one. Right? Now, a lot of times, now, usually, you'll have to tune the second string, and you're trying to tune it to the string that you just tuned. And I don't know how well you're going to be able to hear this, but you can hear it kind of vibrating, going wah, 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 like that. Right? And I'm no longer really depending on the lights. All right? I know one string is in tune. I'm trying to tune the second string to the first string. And I want to get that sound so it's just dead on, and it's almost like one string cancels out the other. It gets very flat and very plain sounding. Okay, and I did that with just a steady pull. Normally I would pull a little bit past and then go back to it. But there's a little problem with this piano. The strings are so old, they kind of catch on the little A graphs. That's the little thing that the string passes through. They kind of jerk back and forth, so this way works best. Now I'm on to F sharp. I'll tune the first string first. It's dead on. Move my wedge. Still pretty close. Perfect. It sounds good enough to me. Alright. Maybe that one could be a little better. Too far, and the lights are telling me that too. Now, with a lot of pianos, you really have to give it a pretty good whack to make sure it's, you know, it's going to stay where you put it. Another thing too is when you hit a string really hard, the pitch will go up because the string is moving so far that it raises the pitch, and as it gets softer, the pitch will actually come back down a little bit. So you got to wait until the sound is lower. Alright, there's my wedge. Sometimes it's just a very light touch and kind of a little wiggle just to help the string get back down. Don't bang on it this way. I see so many tuners do that. It just doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know why they do that. You know, the pin is down there. You don't want it moving back and forth. You just want it to turn. Let's move on to the next section here, where there are now 3 strings per note. So I'm going to put the mute in between 2 of the strings so I can just hear this one string. And it's pretty odd. I don't know why I'm tuning this piano today. It doesn't need it. Alright. Then I'll move it so I can hear 2 strings now. You can hear it's out. That's about dead on right there. And the thing about doing a piano this way, as opposed to, you know, tuning fifths and fourths and thirds and doing it all by ear and setting the temperament and then doing the stretch tuning and all that, if you let the machine do that work for you, you can concentrate on getting the pressure exactly right so that the string stays where you put it. And you can concentrate on tuning your unisons, right? See, I got 3 strings I got to tune exactly the same. And you can concentrate on making those as perfect as you can with no vibration, just boom, just a solid tone. So there's 2 strings that sound perfect. Now I'll listen to the 3rd string. It's pretty close. It's perfect. So as I get to this section now, I'm going to tune the middle string first. And you can see it's slightly flat, slightly flat. Okay? And there's a thing called like a double whack. Like that. We've got to hit it twice, kind of sets the pin, sets the string. You know it's there. Then I move this one to the next string, and I've got 2 strings now that I can listen to. Now, I don't know if you can hear, but that is not a perfect unison there. There's just a slow, you know, it's not perfect. I went a little past it. I can hear da. I can also hear this note da. I can hear that one. and I'm listening for all those little overtones, but basically I'm just listening to what I can hear. And you know, if you've ever tuned one guitar string to another, you know how to do this. It's no different. Now, my mutes are already set for the next note. It's right on, isn't it? Okay. So there's a slight beat. They call that a beat, as the note goes like that kind of. And it just took the tiniest bit of pressure to get that out of there. What makes a piano go out of tune? The two things are temperature and humidity. All right, especially humidity, but temperature as well. And so you know, you want to try to keep the temperature steady. In the summertime, when the air conditioner's on, the piano stays in tune for months. In the wintertime, it's all over the place. And moving a piano can knock it out of tune a little bit, but it's mostly the changes in temperature and humidity that get it. I've detuned the next string just so you can hear it. This is what it's going to sound like when you're tuning most of the time. All right? You got the middle string tuned, and you're going to move the wedge so you can hear the middle and the right string. All right, that's about right on. Now I'm going to move a little past. Then I'm going to push. That was with, like, say, I'm just making up these numbers. That was like 30 pounds of pressure. Now I'm going to go back with 25 pounds of pressure. All right, went a little under. Now I'm going to pull with 20 pounds of pressure. All right, now 15 going back. Now 5 coming this way. Now going back with an ounce. All right, it's dead on. All right, it's been dead on for about the past couple of whacks there. All right, and then you say, well, when do you listen to all three? Well, I really don't. I just keep going. I tune the middle, tune the right, then move the wedge so it blocks off the right, and then I tune the left to the middle, and then I move on. And then I go back and listen to every note. You know, I'll go through every note without any wedges, listen to all three strings, and if I hear one that's off, you know, I fix it. But most of the time, they're right on. E. Still sounds pretty good. I mean, it's so close you can't hear the difference. You'd have to be right here in the room with me. All right, that took nothing really. Still right on. The closer you can match to what the machine is telling you, the better your tuning is going to be. And like I say, you can concentrate on unisons, being perfectly beatless, and also tuning stability by, you know, gradually working the hammer until the pressure seems about the same on either side. A little bit of pressure will bring it sharp. A little bit of pressure will get it flat. And then just a tiny bit of pressure gets it right to the middle. And then you bang on the note a couple of times, make sure it stays there, and move on. And, you know, if you want to be a piano tuner professionally, you know, spending 2 hours tuning a piano is more time probably than you really need, unless you have to pitch raise and all that. So, you know, I can tune a piano in 30 minutes, all right? If it's not too far out, if it's just, you know, off a little bit. This one I can tune in about 10 minutes because I'm not going to have to hardly change anything because it's still in tune. I'm going to look around for a few notes that are out, and then we're going to start making jazz videos again. All right, thanks everybody for watching. I'm going to turn the camera off. If I think of anything else while I'm doing this, I'll turn it back on and expound upon it some more. Now, I did say you don't want to jerk and bang around it, but sometimes to move the pin and get it in the right place, that's what you got to do. So, Yeah, so I had to pull it back and forth a few times and it moved pretty far. But the final little thing was just I'm just using a couple of fingers on the. If you're learning how to tune, one of the best things you can do is go to a piano store and make friends and ask to tune a bunch of the old crappy pianos that are back in the warehouse. Get your start on those. And it'll take longer. I mean, you're not going to get it done in 28 minutes like I can do. It might take you an hour and a half or even longer. I could be more accurate. Now, sooner or later, the most terrible thing is going to happen. You're going to break a string, all right? Because, you're banging. I've never broken a string on one of my own pianos, I don't know. I probably will eventually, but because you got to hit them pretty hard. Suppose you're tuning your own piano, you break a string. All right, this is the time to call a piano repairman, an RPT, a registered piano technician. If it's a bass string and it breaks down, not where the copper or the windings are, you can splice the string. I don't know how to do that. I have replaced some strings up in the treble. It's a pain in the ass. It's difficult to do. You need some specialized tools. When that happens, that's the time to start your training, go to piano school, learn how to change strings, learn how to fix all the other stuff on the piano. I mean, there's so many things going on with the action that I don't have a clue about. I've tried to learn. It's not easy. It's a specialized thing. It won't be taken over by AI anytime in the future. And people paying $150, $175, $200 to get their piano tuned. If you can do it in 45 minutes, you're making pretty good money. All right, so if you work for a piano dealer, you're going to get paid, $25 a piano or $30, whatever. I don't know what it would be. It's not going to be a whole lot. You might say, why not just get a digital piano? Fuck that. I can't stand those things. I mean, they're okay, but sometimes, it's so close that when you move the lever, the hammer, whatever you want to call this thing, you're not actually even turning the pin. The pin's in the wood and there's little teeth on the pin and you're grabbing the wood and everything. You're not actually even moving the pin, or if you are, it's very, very slight. And it's not even like you're setting torque on the pin. I don't believe in that. I think, it's solid metal. It's not going to have much torque to it. But, you're just getting the pressure right, basically. Pressure that the pin and the way it's sitting in the bridge and the whole thing, you're just kind of moving it a little bit. The pin doesn't even actually move. You're just kind of giving a little nudge in the right direction. Okay, now we're getting to a difficult area, the treble. The farther up you go, the harder it is to tune, really. And when you get up here, you see that the tuning hammer won't fit down in here because, the case of the piano is in the way. How you going to tune these? I mean, even here it's banging on it. I could put it back here maybe and get it that way. And here's my solution. I just switch hands, all right? I just, I'm not as good doing it this way. Sometimes I push the hammer the wrong way. All right. Now, when you get up to this range, and a lot of times I just skip this range. I'll just go over the notes and find the ones that sound really out from each other and just get the unison right. What's important is that all three strings are tuned to each other so you have a good unison. Now, you want to get them at the right pitch and everything, but it's what piano tutor once told me. Main thing is get the birdies out, the little birdie sounds. Get them so they're just a nice smooth tone there. All right. So, all right. So now, if I want it to go up, I gotta push. All right, got it. the second string. And I once asked a piano tuner, I said, you know, you pull it, you push it sharp, and then you bang on it, and the pitch kind of comes down. Are you banging on it hard to set the string, or to make the banging on it hard to make the pitch go down a little bit so that the unison gets set? I said, which one are you doing? Are you doing it this way or for that reason? And he says, yes. So it's kind of both. You know, you bang on it hard because it's a little bit sharp. That brings it down. But, you know, and this is where strings start to break, too, so you got to be careful. And then as I tune the third string, I'm not going to bang quite so hard because I don't want to knock the other ones out of pitch. They sound pretty good to me. Now, I knew a piano player. He's passed on. His name was Bill Porter. And he had a tuning lever with kind of an extension, or it was really long there. So it would get up above like this, and he could tune that way so he wouldn't have to switch hands. So you can get hammers that do that, you know, that have extensions or they're just long to begin with. So that's one option. But Bill Porter, he tuned this lady's piano for years and years, and then the lady passed away, and up here I do use a slightly different technique sometimes. I'll just use one wedge, and I'm blocking the two right strings. I'm just tuning the left string. Then I'll move the wedge, so now I've got the left in the middle. There's definitely something going on there. But once again, I'm not using the lights. I mean, sometimes that can help if you don't know if you're sharp or flat, but okay, there's a good unison. Then I'll move the wedge again so that I hear all three strings and tune the final string. That sounds pretty good to me. And then you know, except for the very top couple of notes, they all sound pretty good to me. And even if I was tuning a client piano, I would probably just say fuck it and just just check it, make sure it's okay. The top one here. See if I can find which string is giving me a little bit of a beat. And you gotta, the top ones die away so quickly, you gotta bang on them a lot of times. So you know, you're doing that kind of stuff quite a bit. All right, let's see about this now. All right, then like I say, I'm gonna listen very carefully to every note. If I don't hear a pure tone, I'm going to look for the string that might be out. Not even using the lights. They're pretty close. They could be a tiny bit better, you know. If you want to take the time, get everything just perfect, it does take time. But right now, I mean, you can't complain about that. That just sounds beautiful. All right, I hope this was a helpful video to you. I wish you luck in keeping your piano in tune, and especially, if you live in a remote area, it's very, very helpful to be able to do it yourself. Sometimes it's difficult to find a piano tuner and keep your piano in tune. Okay, thanks everyone.